truth?
Oh, I'm all ears.
Okay. The truth.
I always tell the truth, even when I lie.
Why do you find it so hard to believe?
Why do you find it so easy?
It's never been easy.
You want answers?
I think I'm entitled.
You want answers?
I want the truth.
All I'm offering is the truth. Nothing more.
Hello and welcome to Truthful Talk. I'm your host, I'm Marco, and I'm here with Samantha. Samantha. And today we are back after, it's been a couple weeks again. We've been on kind of like an every other week schedule since we've been dealing with life events.
Yeah.
They've been getting in the way. And we're back once again.
Hello.
And I guess, geez, I don't even know how long it's been already, but was it last weekend where we had the service for my mom?
I think it might have been 2 weekends ago.
Like that's how fast like time goes. Isn't it crazy? It was
yeah, I think so.
It was last weekend. It was it was Saturday the 20th
No,
and we're
there's
the
no way.
29th. So it's been 9 days.
Wow. Okay.
It's been 9 days. So it's an interesting thing. So if those of you who have been following along on the podcast, we've been taking care of my mom. She's been living with us for the last couple of years, and she had advanced Parkinson's and then recently passed away. And so we had the service for her, just about 9 days ago. So, so coming off of that, first of all, it was a lovely service. Everything was really nice. It was so nice to see, there was family and friends and, a lot of her friends and people from her life were there. It was really a very nice gathering of people.
Yeah.
A very nice tribute to her. But it did bring up something that I was thinking about is, as a normal human being, we have to juggle work and life and, the things that we do. As an artist, this is a little more difficult. I mean, how do we juggle all of this stuff together? It becomes a bit daunting because a lot of times as an artist, there are things that we have scheduled that we have to do. When I was in the corporate world and something like this would happen, you could take some time off and there were other people to take your place or at least pick up the slack for you when you weren't there. You had teams of people that could do things or other people that could fill in. It wasn't, because more in the corporate world, there are more routine things that are being done. And, the whole company wouldn't collapse if you weren't there for a couple of days.
Yeah.
More as when we're running your own company, which, we have a couple that we're doing. And then also doing the things we do as artists, whether we have, let's say we're in a show or we're shooting a TV show, we're shooting a film, we're on stage doing a performance, or in my case, being a teacher, running a program, but running such a specific program, there is no one to fill in for you.
Right.
It's an interesting thing.
Yeah. It's crazy to think that your mom passed away almost a month ago. Now that I'm thinking about it, it was almost a month ago. And she passed away on a Tuesday. We finished our semester at our school that same week because it was at the end of the semester. And you were coming up on the end of your class that Saturday, was it? That Friday or Saturday, you had the end of your semester.
Right. We had end of a semester that we were doing a Shakespeare performance. Yeah.
Right.
So it was a lot to put together.
And you went.
She passed away on that Tuesday. I didn't cancel class that day. I had someone fill in for me that day, which really, when someone fills in for me, with what I teach, especially at the advanced level, they don't necessarily as a director. You can't have someone else fill in as a director because unless they're there the whole time with you and know exactly what you need and are also in that line, really, they can fill in trying to just maintain. So remember when I had someone fill in for me that day, really it was just to allow the actors to go through their process and continue rehearsing, which worked, which, was very good. They didn't lose a day of rehearsal that day. And then the next day I had something that I had to cancel. So it was, she passed away on a Tuesday.
Yeah.
I had to cancel Tuesday and Wednesday. Wednesday I teach at the university on Wednesdays.
Mm-hmm.
And interestingly enough, right? So I did have to cancel that class. But I didn't cancel the class. I had someone, I had a substitute fill in for me, which again was very difficult. And it was the first, I looked back, that was the first day I had to cancel or had a sub at the university in 10 years.
Which is crazy.
10 years of doing that. Just how, I don't ever do that. But then I was back at it Thursday, Friday, Saturday, right? It was back.
Which is crazy because you were all day at the studio Friday and Saturday, like from morning to night. You put on a whole show with your students there. During the whole grieving process, it was bizarre to me because you could absolutely have been at home, in your room crying. And
right. Or,
yeah.
Or with family.
Or with family, yeah.
Something, right? But, it's the life of an artist and the life of a teacher and the life of just in the arts, whether it's a director, whether it's an actor, but the life of an artist is a different one.
So how did you do that? Like your mom just passed away just a few days before, yet you're at the studio, with your students, you're putting together this whole Shakespeare play that you had been working on that whole semester. And here you are at the studio with your students putting together this whole show. Like, how did you manage to do that emotionally?
I think emotionally it was, I think the positive side of it is as an artist emotionally, it helps. It helps to be around the creativity. It helps to be around all of my students. All my students are very compassionate and nurturing and, sympathetic to what was happening as well. They were very good to the whole thing, constantly wanting to make sure I was okay. But truthfully, I think being there almost diverting my attention from just thinking about what was happening.
Right.
Allowing me to do something, put my focus on something outward, I think actually helped and allowed me to start the healing process in a different way, channel my grief or the beginning stages of grief through the art. I think it did help. It's more of a mental thing of, this thing just happened and you just want to hide. You want to pull away. You want to just, sit, in your room and do nothing. Because
I know that's my tendency. Like my tendency is I just want to not see people and I just want to pull away and hide and, right?
Yeah. And that's kind of how, I was feeling that too. It's difficult.
But you kind of had no other choice. You had to be there. And
it was either that or cancel the performance, not go through. And I didn't want to do that for my students. They were working really hard on this whole Shakespearean performance and they've been doing so well with it. I just didn't want to alter that.
Yeah.
I wanted to go through with it. And me being the teacher / director of that performance, I also didn't want to pull back on them of the experience I wanted them to have. So to me, it was like, I need to focus on the living right now. I need to focus on these artists that have put so much effort into this and that deserve this performance. And I'll deal with my grief next week.
Yeah.
Which I did. The week after I had off, it was between semesters. So it allowed, I think that, allowed me some time there.
Yeah.
But I found the arts allow me that channel. Is it more like a distraction, or is it a way to channel your? I think it's
your
both.
emotions.
I think it's a little bit of both. The teaching element of it is a distraction,
Mm-hmm.
but the art itself is a way to channel.
Process, yeah.
Yeah, a way to channel. Yeah, to process it through.
Yeah, I suppose so. I can see that.
If you remember years ago, 2018 maybe, when we did The Goat or Who is Sylvia in the theater. And we had we had an actor who she was going through her mom was ill.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
And it was one of those things where she had also lost. It was during the run of the show, and she lost her mom on a Tuesday, and then we had a show scheduled for Wednesday.
That's insane.
And, at the time it was, we had asked her, do you want us to cancel? Do you want, obviously a tragedy like this, that occurs. And it's like, we'll absolutely, we'll cancel the show and we'll issue refunds and everything. And then we can, regroup later. And then she said, no, I want to, I want to go forward with it. So in a situation like that, listen, you're on Broadway and something like that happens. You don't have a choice. You have to go on, right? There is no stopping. The show must go on. And a lot of times they have understudies for things like that.
Right.
That will step in if there's, something that happens that you just can't perform. In the community theater and in the smaller theater world, there is, for a lot of minor things, you don't ever stop.
Right.
And to that point, I think in our run of the history of our theater, to that point, we had never canceled a show.
No.
So, but this was the first time I felt, okay, this, you just lost your mom.
Right.
There's a show we need to do tomorrow. And it wasn't like it was a comedy. The show was pretty heavy.
Yeah.
And in the show, the character that she was playing, does this plea to her dead mom. Like, there's a picture of her mom over a fireplace and she's talking to her, so it was like, and even though we don't it's not, we're not method acting this thing where she's, thinking of that, you can't avoid it when that happens.
Right. It's just a little too close.
Yeah, directly too close.
Yeah.
And so I remember, Merritt said, no, I want to do the show. I'm like, are you sure? What about, your dad and this? And she's like, well, no, my dad, because they didn't live right next to them. So my dad's going to be okay for right now. I need to go see him 2 days from now. But for tomorrow, I'm going to be here. I'm going to be in town. I want to do this show. And we're like, okay.
Oof.
And we did. And we built in some safety parameters in the show, just in case you get too emotionally overcome or whatever. We built in some different things that the other actors could do to help with it. But she made it through the show and she did a great job. And then afterwards, she talked about how cathartic it was, how healing it was to be able to perform and channel all of that through the performance.
Merritt's a powerhouse. So much respect, because she absolutely did not need to do that. And I remember her talking about having, that was a very healing. She talked a lot about how she was very grateful to have been able to do that show after her mom passed away, that doing that show was actually very healing for her.
Right.
Which is crazy, right? But the art does heal. And which reminds me of when we put up Birds of North America, and even something as simple as, and I say simple, I don't know why I'm minimizing it, of putting up the set was healing to me, of coming off of the cancer and being able to, start dabbling again on set, it is healing. Art is 100% healing when you're going through stuff. So, but just the monstrosity of losing a parent, like Merritt lost her mom and then having to put a show up the next day, like just, I can't imagine of having done that. And then you losing your mom and then still having to go to the theater and focus from like morning to night and being
and
able.
I would have if we didn't have to be out of town that next day. Like we had to go out of town because we had to go, and the service for my mother wasn't where we were. It was about 2 hours south.
Right.
So we had to physically go there the next morning and meet and, with the funeral director and, arrange the whole thing. If that wasn't required, I most likely would have taught at the university.
Oh, I know you would have.
And it's not because I'm a workaholic either. It's not like that type of thing. It's because I knew going in, and maybe talking about it with my students would be a very healing thing for me.
Yeah.
And turning it into an artistic lesson would have been very healing.
Yeah.
I know.
I still have old tendencies. Like I still want to curl up and just like get roly-poly into a ball and be like, "Woe is me."
Well, that's the thing is it's the mind, right? It's the mind that wants to kind of retreat. And we just had this, we call them defining moments. We had this thing that happens that breaks your perception, and the logical mind, which is your fear center, doesn't know how to deal with it. So it wants you to retract in and don't do anything until it can figure out how to move on and navigate. Plus, we're in a heightened emotional state, so we don't want other people to see us that way and everything else. But for whatever reason, I'm kind of the opposite, where it's like, no, let's charge through. And I think I say for whatever reason, my training in the arts is that reason.
Right.
I didn't always used to be like that, but the training in the arts to be an actor, to be a teacher, to be a director, it's like, no, the show must go on. And I really believe that the show must go on.
Yeah.
And I don't want to ever stop living just because we're emotional about something or because we're fearful about something. A long time ago, a couple decades ago, we were filming a movie, and it was a feature film. We were filming a movie midway through it, and a friend of mine, an actor, was in this movie, and we were doing it was like an overnight shoot, right? So there's a lot of equipment, a lot of people, a lot of crew, we're lighting up the whole outside of this house because we're doing, it's a lot to do overnights. So I remember, I can't remember like the exact specifics of time, but let's just say his call time was like, it was 7 p.m. He gives me a call at like 4 p.m. and says, "Hey, I'm sorry I can't come in to do the shoot tonight," which he was a pivotal player in that night's shoot, right? It was a big deal if he didn't show up. And I was like, "What's going on?" He's like, "Oh, I just found out that one of my grandparents passed away, and it's, I'm just not in the mood," because the movie we were shooting was a comedy.
Okay.
And so he's like, I just don't think I can push through because it's really affecting me and everything else. And I had to talk him through. I was one of the producers on the film, and I had to talk him through this and figure out, okay, so, first of all, I'm sorry, right, for your loss and everything else. But I think it was her like grandmother or something. Like, was she here like locally? No, it was up in Michigan or something, right up north. Like, okay. So, well, what about parents, or what about like, those type of things? No, they're here and they're there. I'm like, okay, are you flying out right away? You have to no, I'm not flying out until whatever. It's like, okay, so why can't you come in?
Oh my gosh.
I had to gently get around trying to figure out what is the reason outside of not feeling like it. Even though this was a big deal, obviously, it's a major loss. What was the reason, right? And it simply was, we like as human beings to retreat when those things
it was an
happen.
Emotional thing.
It was a complete emotional thing, and just not feeling like he was going to be able to fulfill the requirements of the scene, which was a comedy. So a lot of energy and a lot of, that type of stuff.
Which is a big deal. But
I talked him into coming in. I'm like, listen, we have an entire crew that's here. It's a lot of money at stake. There's a lot of just people's time at stake. We plus then rescheduling it and everything else. I'm like, listen, just show up, do the best you can, and let's make it work. And he did. And he showed up, and he was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he literally did an amazing job that night and was so good. And then later was so thankful that he did that. He's like, I just would have been home, just, sitting by myself, eating ice cream or something. You know what I mean? Like comforting, and I would have been home just sad. And he's like, I was able to completely, he had such a great night of acting.
Yeah.
And so sometimes it literally is our brain that gets in the way.
Yeah.
We were in the middle of doing a performance when we learned that you had cancer or something wrong with you. We didn't know it was cancer at the time. We knew something was wrong with you. And truthfully, the only reason we stopped performing was because you had to have surgery to have a lymph node removed. And we underestimated the healing time of that. I mean, because they said, oh, you should be good in 2 days. And it was like 2 weeks, right? It was, the surgery. If you had felt better sooner after the surgery, I think we would have performed. Because we took a couple of days off after your surgery, but we were going to come back the next weekend if you were feeling better.
Yeah, well, we were also waiting on the results of that. And I think a lot of it as well had to do with the prognosis of
both.
Yeah. Of what it was. And it was really what we were performing had to do with, me dying.
No, me dying. No, you dying. That's right. It was you dying.
It was you dying. It was about me.
Right. My bad. It was you dying. Yes.
It was about me dying. So that was like, it was hitting a little too close to like home with us not knowing what was happening with me at that moment. And it felt a little too methody. And we felt like we were playing with something we shouldn't be playing with at that moment. Like it didn't feel safe, at least for me. So I didn't want to be performing with something that I felt too close to home.
No, but right. But that was before. Because
that was right.
Because the day after your surgery, we had the results. They did the surgery because remember, first they did the biopsy and then that was non-conclusive.
Right.
They did the surgery and then the surgeon called us.
Right.
Like later that day, maybe it was like he called us and said, hey, this is good news because this is what we're seeing.
I hate that. Can we not talk about that? You want to get me ramped up about this? It's not good. No, it's not. Being told you have cancer is never good news.
I know.
No. You want me to curse on air? Being told you have cancer is never good news.
It was never good news, but our expectations was that it could have been much worse.
Yes.
Listen, the prognosis was good.
Yeah.
You might not like the diagnosis.
Right.
But the prognosis, the fact that it could be, that it could be controlled.
Sure.
And you could go into remission and, right, it can.
Yeah.
You don't consider that good news?
No, yes, that is good news, but it's still not something you want to hear.
Why? You don't want to hear that you have something that can be healed?
No, yes, I do want to hear something I have. Yeah, but you don't want to hear you have cancer anyway.
Well, no, of course you don't.
You have cancer. Oh, it's the curable one. Oh, but you have cancer. Like,
isn't that
bitch? Like, come on. Like, know what I mean?
But
it's still like the worst news you ever want to hear.
No,
like
the worst news you ever want to hear is it's not curable.
You're not. Yeah, but you're not. When you're being told something that's traumatic, like that's not the. You know what I mean? Like you just slapped me in my face. It hurts. I'm not.
I don't know. I completely disagree with you there because living through that, I was, the expectations of what it could have been.
you were so relieved. I'm like, I have cancer.
Because
and you're like, yay. You're not going to die.
It's not yay. There wasn't a chance it wasn't cancer. Right? There wasn't a chance it wasn't. We knew it was. To me, it was, what level is it? Is it something that can be treated, or is it non-treatable? They come back and it's like, listen, I'm sorry, it's stage 4, and it and it traveled to parts of your body that we can't. It's like, no, that's bad. I lived through that with my dad.
Yeah, I know.
That's not the news you want. We had news that it's treatable.
Yeah.
So saying that's not positive, I don't.
No, I'm not saying it's not that it's not positive. Yeah. It's just, listen, in the cancer community, we understand each other. This is something that we like relate, that other people do not understand. I don't expect you to understand this. Like I'm very grateful. Like, and again, I think
we're not saying you should be happy that you have cancer, but listen, once you know that you do, when you get the prognosis,
yes,
there is
super grateful,
but there is
so grateful
a good prognosis and a bad prognosis.
100%. I'm very grateful. I'm not minimizing the gratitude, but that is a very big thing out there. Yeah, I'm rolling my eyes. People can't see me rolling my eyes.
You're rolling your eyes. And I'm trying to figure out why you're rolling your eyes at me. Because
no, I'm not rolling my eyes at you. It's just, it's a big thing that's out there that I realized that in the community.
Yeah, but come on, though. I mean, you have to.
No. You want to get into this conversation? There's so much out there that is.
Because it still focuses
that is frowned upon in the cancer. No, not about necessarily even that. Just about the whole. Oh, you're so strong. Oh, like I can't even with that statement.
People are trying to.
People are trying. No.
I feel like you're negating my entire journey through this with you.
No, like I understand that. It just, I love the positivity and I love the intention. I do. I get that. I understand that. I just, it just, I feel like, oh, why are you getting me emotional now? Because there's so many people that are strong.
Well, sure. No, I understand it's not relating, right. You don't like the relationship of the word strong to being able to make it through it, because it wasn't even a choice of yours. That was just that you caught it early. And
my strength had nothing to do with it.
It had nothing to do with it. Right. It was the fact that you were able to get into chemo soon enough, and the chemo could take care of it prior for it to spread.
There are so many people that are strong out there that didn't make it.
I understand that.
So that's why I struggle with that.
So then the whole good news thing, is that survivor's guilt?
Yes.
Okay.
It's a big thing.
Why did you have a type of cancer that could be survived or could be treated and others didn't?
Yeah.
Okay. That makes sense. Yeah, survivor's guilt is a big deal.
100% I have that.
Okay. The part of me with that is this is why I'm, and listen, I know I'm OCD and I know I'm tough to live with all my lists and how I want things, and I want to do it right in a certain way and everything else. But yeah, get your annual checkups. Yeah, go to the doctor and I mean, we have to stay on top of these things. The day we discovered this, the day we discovered that you had a lump, you wanted to wait until the next week. And let me see what happens over the weekend. I think it will go down. I think I just pulled a muscle. I was insistent. No, we are going tomorrow.
Yeah, you did.
So you're going to schedule something and we're going in tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
And the moment our doctor saw it, she said, I'm sending you to a CT scan like the same day or something. It was ridiculous.
It was the same day. Thank you.
But what I'm saying is yeah, there is a tendency. So a lot of times, I know we might have survivor guilt and like, why me and not others? A lot of times it really is. We have to stay on top of this stuff.
Yeah.
That's why it's so important. We cannot push this stuff off. You cannot push your health off. It's don't wait. Don't skip a blood test every year. Don't skip going to the gynecologist every year. Don't skip getting your annual physical every year.
Yeah.
Because a lot of it is that. It's not, I don't think it's a selection process. A lot of it is just people wait too long to get checked out. You don't feel well or you don't get your annual checkups or whatever. And then all of a sudden, who knows why? We still don't know why cancer comes up. Like we have no idea. And the doctors have not been able to say why this occurred inside of you. But for some reason it did. But we were diligent in going and getting it checked out. But I think having the gratitude of that is important and not leaning in on the fear of that.
Yeah. No, I'm really grateful.
And I know there's so many people that weren't as lucky, that continue not to be as lucky. And that sucks.
I'm very grateful I got to act with you.
Yeah.
That was a lot of fun.
As short-lived as that was. I mean, yeah.
So many of our students wanted to see us act together.
Yeah.
And we did.
Well, I'm sorry you still have survivor's guilt. And I know that's tough. I know that's something that's not like going to go away. I know that's something you'll just live with, but I do think it's important that you encourage others to go get checked, to go make sure you're doing, all of your different tests that you can.
Yeah.
It's so important because we tend to take things for granted and we tend to just wait and we tend to, right?
I've always been my own doctor. You know me. Self-medicating.
Yeah. Dr. Sam, we know.
Yeah. Yeah. I've always been one that will never go to the doctor unless I absolutely have to. So don't take my advice.
Don't do that. No, don't wait. And I know it's tough, but there are ways to do annual physicals,
to
get checked up. You need to do that. Even if you got to pay for it out of your own pocket, if you don't have insurance, at least do that piece of it.
Right. At least get blood tests done.
You can walk into a LabCorp or whatever the hell they're called, right?
Yeah, I think you can do them on your own.
Quest or whatever. You can walk in, you can pay out of pocket.
Right.
They're not that expensive, believe it or not. And you can get those done. So even if you don't have insurance or you don't, most insurance, first of all, if you do have insurance, even with high deductibles and everything else, they cover the annual physicals. They cover what they call a wellness check.
Right.
So that's, if nothing else, if you have like minimal amounts of insurance that will cover wellness checks, do that.
Yeah.
Don't miss it. Don't take health for granted.
No, that's number one.
It really is number one.
It really is number one. The moment you're not feeling well, everything else falls. Literally.
Yeah. So, these are things that we deal with, humans deal with this stuff. But then as artists, as I said, the difference is we put ourselves in a position where we are committed to something that a lot of other people are attached to, a theater show, a movie, whatever it might be. We can't just take the day off. Artists don't take the day off.
Right.
Unless we have to, unless it's really a crazy circumstance.
We were talking to our son about that the other day. Work ethic too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a big deal. Like, hey, if you wake up and you've got a little, you can't just be like, I can't go to school today. No, you work. You got to push
through it.
Yeah, you work through it. You push through it. Take a little Tylenol. Let me not talk about that, but
yeah, well, or something.
You take a little Tylenol or something, and you go to school, man. It's cool. It's fine.
Yeah.
Right? It's so easy nowadays to just be like, oh, I got a little, let me take the day off. No, man, you got to push through it, because if you're doing that at 16, you're going to do it at 50.
Right.
At 35. No, push through it. It's fine.
Yeah, you got to push through the simple things.
Right. I think it's important. Learn the lessons when you're young, so you can carry those lessons through adulthood.
And I say the simple things, like, when we're kind of not feeling well, you push through it. When we're, when there's a lot of just, we're not motivated and we just don't want to, it's like, oh, I don't feel like going in today. You do it anyway. I mean, you have to push through those times.
Right.
There will be times that things do get in the way and you can't.
Yeah.
And that's understandable.
Right.
But yeah, we have to find that motivation. And typically when I have students, like, as in one of my classes, and they'll be going through something and not feeling motivated. It's like, I don't know, I'm just like really emotional, or I'm really down, or I just don't know if I should come into class. It's like, yes, come into class, push through it. And not just because you need to be in class, but because the art is healing.
Right.
And almost every single time they come in and then they thank me at the end saying, oh my God, it was so great that I wasn't going to come today, but it was so great that I did, because I feel so much better.
Because you think that not going is going to make you feel better, and staying home, but once you go and you're exposed to other people that are in that creative mindset, and you're putting yourself in that creative mindset, then that is part of the healing, or that's getting you out of your funk, right?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Right. Because when you put yourself outside of your comfort zone, that's what gets you out of your funk. If you're staying in your comfort bubble of like, woe is me, then you're going to stay in that.
Which is one of the things we train as an actor, is getting out of our logical mind. Getting out of the part of your mind that wants to just think over and over and over and dwell in whatever's wrong.
What's that saying about something starts outside your comfort zone?
Yeah, life.
Well, yeah. But there's a specific saying, something begins outside your comfort zone. And I'm sure people that are listening are like yelling it at me right now. But life begins outside your comfort zone. Might be it. It might be life begins outside your
life, success, growth. I mean,
everything. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's life.
Right. That's what it is. And even something as simple as going to class. Man, yeah. I know. It's just people. Seeing people for me is very scary.
Right.
Because that I think when I'm down in a funk, I get scared of seeing people. Like, that is my anchor, I guess. I don't know if that's what you would call it. I don't know what I'm trying to say, but
you're saying people are?
Yeah. Yeah. That's what holds me back, is the fact that I'm going to see people. Like, if I was going to a place. Oh, well,
it's just anxiety of the social element of not wanting to have to put on a, quote unquote, a brave face, right? You don't want to have to do that. You don't want to put on some sort of false thing of how you're feeling. You just want to be able to feel whatever you're feeling.
Yeah.
But it's not seeing people. It's the thing of, oh, well, now I have to hide how I'm really feeling. Like, you don't want to hide.
Right.
Not in those vulnerable moments.
Right. So when you're in a funk and have to go to class and see other people, it's like, oh, but that is what makes you feel better, being around the energy of the other people, that even if they're in a funk and they're all feeling the same way, well, now we can all be in a funk together, and then that actually will make you feel better.
Yeah.
You know?
And this whole thing, life begins at the end of your comfort zone, right? That whole thing is because the end of your comfort zone is the end of your thinking, right? When you're in your head thinking, you're dwelling on the past, or you're thinking about the future, you're in here. When you push past that boundary, it gets you into the living moment, like, which is right now, right here, right now, without thought, without thinking about what has happened and without thinking about where we're going. That's how I taught the week that Mom died, because I was in the present moment.
Yeah.
I wasn't thinking about it. I wasn't dwelling on it. I wasn't in my, that fearful part of my head of loss and all of that. I was literally just right here, right now. And that allows you to do that. And that's, as an artist, that's what it does, is it pushes you past that, because every time we go from, through trauma, especially loss, we do want to dwell on it. We want to think about what we don't have anymore. Life, or the present moment, focuses on what we do have, what is right here, right now. And that can be very healing. It gets us past that. And we work on that. I mean, at our studio, we work on something called core, right? It's an exercise that we call the core. And we call it the core because it's at the center of everything we do for acting. But the exercise itself is literally working on being in this present moment fully, physically, mentally, emotionally, like being all, our entire being, by a sheer act of will, pulling everything into this present moment, which is different than us physically being in the present moment, but thinking about the past, dwelling about the past, living in the past in our head, or worrying about the future and what's to come. That's not what this is all saying. That's not what that's about. Acting requires this present moment type of thing. And really, most of the art forms require that. And it teaches us as human beings that that's where life occurs, is right here, right now. Focusing on what is right before us.
Because life is being created in this very moment.
Yes, right. It's being created in this very moment. That's a good way of putting it.
Yeah. Like, as you're speaking, you're creating life. As I'm watching you.
As you're living and as you're being and as you're doing.
Nothing exists until right now.
And the only moment we have is this present one.
Right. As it's happening.
The moment it passes.
It's done.
It's done.
Yeah.
And we don't have the ones that haven't occurred yet.
Right.
The only thing we have is right now.
Yeah. It's beautiful.
I think it's beautiful as a human being.
Right.
I think human beings should be taught. I think this is what should be taught in the schools from an early age.
Mm-hmm.
Instead, kids are taught to go right in their head. They're taught to think only and not feel. The whole concept of STEM, right? Which is just focusing on the sciences and the maths and all the technical things, engineering and all of that. And I'm not saying those things aren't important, but they're only important if it's balanced out,
right,
with art.
Yeah.
With feeling, with emotion, with the present moment. Right? There's so much focus on doing math in our heads and being able to calculate and analyze, but that's only half the battle. We need the other half. Analysis doesn't get us outside of our comfort zone.
No.
Action does.
Yeah.
We need to do something in life to actually get into the present moment, or we cannot think our way into the present moment. You cannot think into the right now.
No.
You have to be.
You have to just be.
You have to be.
Yeah. And allow yourself to just be.
Yeah.
Yeah. School, I think, was, I don't know, was created by a logical person.
Well, there's a lot of reasons for the school system and how they train today. But, what I don't like is when I see the arts begin to drift away from the school system. It's like, oh, well, that's creating generations of just fearful students and fearful generations and kids and everything else who are not taught that what they're feeling is okay. They're not taught how to deal with it. They're not taught how to process it. And they're not taught to literally be in this present moment.
Mm-hmm.
It's a problem. Because then all of a sudden we deal with like the minor speck of trauma in our life, and we can't deal with it.
Right.
Because if we have no experience dealing with it, then all of a sudden something very smaller. I don't know how to really categorize that, but we like having a call, wake up and go, well, maybe I shouldn't go in today. It's like,
right. They don't know how to deal with it.
Wait a minute. This is just life.
Right.
Life is not whether or not good things happen to you or bad things happen to you. Life is just how we deal with the day-to-day process. There's always going to be things that come up that we don't want or we don't like or that are, traumatic in some way. It's not if those things happen, it's how do we deal with them when they do. This is where I think the arts are great because arts teach us how to do that.
Yeah. Yep.
Acting teaches us how to do that. And that's what we train in. And that's, more than anything, I want my students to understand that. The life aspect of this. Of how important the present moment really is.
It's all we have.
It's all we have. Critical to acting, but to me, wow, it's critical to life too.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I deal with things. That's how I was able to deal with you getting sick. That's how I was able to deal with mom and her illness. And I'm able to deal with things. It's not that I don't go through things. Of course I do. But being able to divert my focus back to the present moment.
I think as humans, like we instinctively do that. I think without even knowing, because it's how we deal with life. I think once we get in our heads, then that is when we get in trouble.
Yes.
Right? Like when we try to logically explain things and then we get in our heads about it, that's when now we go into depression and stuff like that.
Right.
But if we allow ourselves to just be, it would, I don't know, it would be more smooth than when we try to think our way through things.
We need both.
Yeah.
But we can't get caught in our head.
Yeah.
That's the thing. We can't get stuck in analysis.
Mm-hmm.
It also takes action.
Yeah.
We need to make a decision on what we need to do and then do it.
Yeah.
Too many times people get caught in the analysis and in waiting or trying to analyze over and over and over and never taking a decision because they don't want to make the wrong one.
Yeah.
But not making any decision is the wrong one.
Everything is a balance.
Everything is a balance.
Yeah.
And I think that's where we'll leave everyone today.
Yeah.
Everything is a balance.
Everything is a balance. You got to just find that scale.
Ooh, I like that.
Find your scale.
Yeah. Yeah. That's great. Well, thank you all once again for tuning in and listening to us. We'll be back again hopefully soon, and we're going to get into some kind of routine as we try to navigate life and the art once again as we go forward. It's been a little bit of I don't want to say a struggle, but it's trying to get back to,
it sure has,
to routine and everything else has been a little bit of a mystery.
We'll get back at it. Thank you for being on this ride with us.
Yeah, thank you so much. And remember, as you go through your week, make sure you reward yourself for the risks that you take. That's so very important. And treat yourself and each other with kindness.
And remember that you are enough.
Oh, definitely. Love that. All right, everyone. We'll see you again soon. All right.
Bye.
If you'd like to learn more about what we do, you can find us online at truthfulacting.com. Or you can check out our theater at theaterontheedge.org, O-R-G.
So what I told you was true, from a certain point of view.
You must unlearn what you have learned. know what you're trying to do.
I'm trying to free your mind, but I can only show you the door. You're the one that has to walk through it.